So local businesses that combine deep knowledge with strategic online reach, specifically on YouTube, are dominating their markets like never before. But most local business owners are creating random content about what they find interesting instead of systematically targeting the exact perfect client that they want to work with. These clients are going to their competitors. Now, after building our own local YouTube strategy that generates $1 million gross income per year for the 5th year in a row now, I've discovered that YouTube is actually on easy mode for local businesses only if you understand this one critical element that separates winners from everybody else. Now, I've put together a free AI tool that helps you find and hone in on your avatar and solves problems of who you were talking to. And you can get access to that by joining our Becoming School community, and the link is in the description. Now, here's what's crazy. Being a local business with structured online reach is actually an unfair advantage compared to every other type of marketing. I mean, I've tried everything over the last 21, 22 years in our local business, and this is something that's just does not compare to anything else. Now, the first thing that changed everything for us was shifting from creating content that I wanted to make, that we wanted to make, versus what our clients actually wanted to watch. Now, most local business owners start a YouTube channel thinking, I'm going to talk about what I'm passionate about, what I find interesting in my industry. And honestly, it's completely backwards. You cannot do this. Your clients don't necessarily find everything you find interesting to them. So I want to show you an example of some complete random videos, how we transformed it, and what you can do as well, okay? So here's some examples of some completely random videos that we shot. First one, it was called A Story of Change. I mean, who doesn't like a good story of change? Well, over 4 years, only 137 people liked that title. The other one was How to Renovate Your Home. And a lot of that was because we had someone who was a renovator and we're like, hey, we'll put you on our channel. Well, not a lot of people really wanted to watch a 16-minute video on how to renovate your home. Now this one truly just takes the cake. Moving with your dog. So my business partner, my wife, who I'm still married to, we've been doing this for 21, 22 years now in our local small business here in Calgary. And she was like, we really got to interview this lady. One of my clients knows her and she can talk to pets. And I was like, what? You talk to pets? So we talked to this lady who knows how to talk to dogs. And for 13 minutes, we got to learn about what dogs needed when they move. Now, I understand they have feelings and emotions, and I completely get that. But it was one of the strangest videos I ever did shoot. And then another completely random one, because I love automation. I love tech. I love all this stuff. I was like, hey, I have a close friend. He runs the Apple store. He's got great insights. Let's shoot a video on HomeKit automation for your house. I mean, these are completely random videos. So much so that here's an example of collective views, right? So the collective views on this page that you can see of these 4 columns, there's 13,000 views. And this is what I mean when I'm saying a lot of business owners are creating content that's completely random. It's all inside their niche, but it's random content. So here we have basically a slideshow of a house. Here I'm talking about what a conditional sale is. Here's when I'm thinking of buying a home in Calgary. Houses for sale, how to get your Calgary home sold this winter. Another slideshow of properties. We're going to interview a few agents. It's all in the niche of real estate, but it's not what the client wants to watch. Now notice this difference, because this here is some of the last, 12 videos that we shot mid-2025. Collectively, they've got 287,000 views. Now, the difference here is I am creating content that my clients that are going to work with my team are using, and they're watching, and they love it, and they're engaging with it, and they're trusting me through video because of exactly this thing. And this is exactly what you need to create. You need to create client-focused content. Now, how do you figure that out? Where does that come from? What do you do? Here's a few examples. Okay, so you want to create that content that your client wants to watch. Well, the first thing is what are common questions that usually come up and are asked in the first 10 minutes of meeting with them. That's the first thing you want to take a look at. You want to find out what are those questions that they are constantly asking, that they're always looking for. Now, you don't want to just create a video and answer that question. That's not what I'm saying. So just put those aside. Create a list of 10, 20, 30 questions that they're looking at. Now, the other thing is, what mistakes do you see your clients making over and over and over again? What is something that they're constantly making mistakes about that you're always advising them around? Okay, now make that list. You might have 10, 20 other things of those. Now, what keeps your perfect client awake at 2 a.m.? So think of the perfect client that you want to work with. What keeps them awake at 2 a.m.? What are they worried about? What are they concerned? Is it their family? Is it their finances? Is it the things they get to do for fun? Like, what are the things that makes them concerned at night that is related to your local business? Now, fourthly, what makes your client think, oh, I get it. I wish I would have known that sooner. So when you've heard a client say that, or when you've conversed with a client and you kind of get a sense that they're like, oh, they got it, then what are those things? So what I want you to do is make those 4 lists of these 4 questions, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. You have your list of what these things are. Now, all I want you to do is look for themes. Look for themes that are inside of these things. You might find only 2. You might find 7. Whatever it is, those are the types of videos you want to make. Okay? It's a huge insight that nobody talks about because entertainment channels are not the same as local business channels on YouTube. And this is how you can figure out exactly the themes that you need to make your videos on, and then you'll make topics inside of those. So that's just a real quick way of understanding how that works. Because understanding what content your client wants is crucial. But here's what most local businesses get wrong when trying to figure that out. As good as it is to understand exactly what your client is needing, you actually need to know first, back it up a little bit, and go, who is your perfect client avatar? This is what I call this, a perfect client avatar. Now, this perfect client of avatar, the real secret here is you need to know your audience. You need to know exactly who you want to become your client avatar. And it needs to be a single group of people that you can connect with. Now, most people think they're being smart by casting a wide net, saying like, I want to help wealthy families, but that's not really specific enough. You need to choose your client. And this is a fundamental strategic choice that you have as a local business. Many business owners rely on working with who shows up in front of them or who is just standing at their doorway. And that is an extremely passive approach. When you choose the customers you want to work with, you are embracing their worldviews, the systems that they're a part of, the things that they value. But if you choose wisely, these things are actually going to align with your own. You also get to choose your price point and the level of service that they will demand. So for example, serving a very demanding client that expects custom work for low prices will lead to spending your days fulfilling those expectations. And I can guess over time, you're not going to enjoy those days. Now, instead of trying to reach everyone, which is an elusive and often kind of ineffective goal, focus on someone. Focus on somebody. So here's the difference. Now, right now, I have a coaching group that is called Attraction by Video. And inside the group, there is someone who is a financial planner. And right now, there's a massive transfer of wealth happening from baby boomers to their children. Now, those children, often in their 40s, maybe 50s, they're often wanting a fresh start with a financial planner, and they're going to choose a new advisor. And one of my students in Attraction by Video, he noticed a trend of these recipients of large sums of money, yet he's done nothing about it yet. And he's basically accepting who's showing up in front of him. So instead, if he was to create his content on YouTube to talk specifically to that person in their 40s about the upcoming changes in their lives with inheriting that kind of money, he would gain their trust and possibly their business too when the time comes. So do you see the difference? He's talking to a specific person versus a group of people. Now, who is and how do you figure this out? Again, talk to a single person versus a large group of people. Have laser focus versus this wide net. And you really want to strategically choose. Because here's the thing. If you are going to choose this large group of people, it's not targeted enough and you're not going to make the income that you want to see. You have to choose really, really specifically. So let me show this example in another way. So if we were going to have this target and we use the same example of the financial planner, the wealthy families are definitely viable audience, right? They are definitely there in the province, in the country, in the state, in your city, whatever it is that you're a part of, the wealthy families there, they're there and you could talk to them, but they're a very wide net. Now you could, this is the big one. Now you could drill that down a little bit closer and you could talk to just business owners inside those wealthy families. So that's something that you could talk about too. But let's say you have a really, really great skill at business succession. So handing over the business, whether it's to their kids, to somebody else, and that is a skill that you have honed in and it's something you're really, really good at. Well, this is now who you want to talk about. Now, there is a danger zone in here too that you have to be aware of. If you get too niched, it's going to be too small. So you cannot go too tight with your market. You have to make sure that there is actually a market available to you to make this work. Now, the more specific you get, the easier your content becomes to create because you know exactly what keeps that person up at night and you know what they're searching for on YouTube. Now, however, if you go too niche, you're going to enter that danger zone and it's just not going to work. You do need to find the smallest viable audience who would miss your product or service if it disappeared. So here's a little bit of an insight that I found the other day that I thought was really, really interesting, and I wanted to share it with you. So this is from a website called Wise Owl, and I did some research, and they said that 90% of marketers say video marketing has given them good ROI, which is amazing because I truly believe video is so powerful in having people know who you are, like who you are, and then trust you for your service and what you offer in your local business. And here's the shocking part that I found when they said, what does video success look like? Now, you might be confused in your local business because there's so much noise out there when it comes to success on video in YouTube world, right? And you might be hearing, get lots of subscribers, get lots of views, all of these things. And here's what I found shocking. And this is where you need to change your mindset. It's not about the views. It's not about the subscribers. It's not about the wide net approach like we just talked about for finding your perfect client avatar. It's about leads. It's about clicks. It's about having people reach out and say, I trust you. I want to work with you. And that was the very bottom. 28% of video marketers quantify ROI through leads and clicks. Now, again, I don't fully know who they were interviewing or surveying here, but when I saw that, I was like a little bit disheartened because this is not what local businesses need. And if you would have saw this, you went, okay, right here, like it literally says what I was saying. 60% of video marketers quantify ROI through video engagement such as likes, shares, and reposts. Amazing. But that doesn't fill your bank account. And you need to find leads that fill your bank account. You have to keep your doors open. You have to continue to pay your people and support the people in your local business that are your employees and your contractors. That is your duty as a business owner. And if you're focusing on getting shares and clicks and shares and likes and engagement and subs and views, that's not going to pay your bills. You need to focus on this. And that is what we want to focus on this channel, is understanding exactly how you can get leads for your local business through YouTube. So at the end of the day, who do you want? Like, who do you want to work with, right? We all have that dream client. We all have that perfect client avatar that they're warmed up, they're going to take our advice, and they're going to benefit from the service that we offer. Now, they're engaged in the process Because how many times have you worked with leads online that are just so nonchalant and they don't really engage with you? They don't trust you. You're like trying to fight and like chase them down versus attracting them, right? But these people, when you have a dream client, they are all these things and they're willing to tell others how great you are. You'll get really, really good referrals. So you need to create your perfect client avatar. Now, here's what I want you to do in the start here. Envision what they look like. What does their family life look like? What is their income? What kind of cars do they drive? What industries are they in? And what do they do when they aren't working? What are some of their dreams for their future? You need to know these things. You need to understand these things intimately, and not for the wide net, but for that person, that single person. And there's going to be many of those single persons, but that's what you need to understand and you really need to focus on. Because how often are you already working with that perfect client avatar already, right? Because people move fast with video. They do. As soon as they trust you, and as soon as they get engaged with what you're doing and they like who you are, they know you, they're going to come back and keep watching your content on YouTube because it's solving one of their biggest problems, whatever that is in your local business. The other thing is people want to work with people like them. They want to work with people like them. So think of who you are and how you connect. Think of who your team is and how you connect with those individuals. Think of those people. And you want to work with people like you, right? You want to work with people like you. I want to work with people like me. And so the other thing, and you may not have heard this before, but a 7-11-4. Now, this is a Google study that actually shares a little bit of insight because over the last number of years, online has changed a lot, right? From video, everything else, all the different AI, everything that's changed. What people need now is they need to spend 7 hours with you 11 times and 4 platforms. So they need to spend 7 hours with you online in 11 different times, at least, over 4 different platforms. That could be emails, that could be your website, that could be video, that could be social, whatever it is, right? But this game has changed. And the thing that's changed so much with this is, to me, it's this, because there's so much noise online. And there's so much distraction. There's so many flashy things. People are looking for people they can trust because they're looking for a service. They're looking for a product. They're looking for your local business. And 7 hours is a long time if you're doing it at 20-second sound bites every single time with your shorts. It's not going to work. So what you need to do is you need to focus on long-form content that is converting and educating your client. Because remember, insider knowledge combined with strategic YouTube reach is a complete unfair advantage. So I talked a lot here about all of these different things that are very, very important, very valuable for your business and for your YouTube channel, for your local business. But making this change doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen over the coming months if you focus and are courageous through it all. Now, the one thing that's missing in all of this is knowing how to structure your content. And that is something we actually talk about inside our Becoming School. So join us in our community over there in the description link, and we can change the future of your local business through YouTube marketing if this is something you want to do. So we'll see you through into the Becoming School.